How's it going, guys? And welcome back to BL3's Forgotten, the series where I take a look at underused and not often talked about pieces of gear to determine whether or not they deserve to be remembered within the modern meta of the game or should be left behind and forgotten. And today we are taking a look at the Phebert. If you would like to farm a Phebert for yourself, you're going to have to head over to Electricity, which you will have to make sure that you have at least picked up the quest for so that you can enter. From there, either you can farm it just from the fast travel station, but I tend to prefer coming around and over to this area with this save station, where then you can kind of run in a more straight and linear path over to Wick and Wardy. You can kill both of these. They both do have dedicated drops. However, the one that drops the Phebert is specifically just Wick. The Phebert is a legendary Hyperion shotgun, although despite being a shotgun, it will only ever shoot 2 pellets per shot, but the cost per shot is also 2. The shots fired also have drastically increased projectile speed, and the Phebert is able to roll in any of the elements. This gun is not at all what I expected it to be just by looking at the item card. I didn't really pay attention to the fire rate, so when I first shot this, I was surprised that it was incredibly fast, full auto. While not quite at the same level, it really felt similar to using a butcher, except this only has 2 pellets per shot, no ammo regen, and takes 2 ammo per shot. So initially, the biggest glaring problem was that you were chewing through ammo really fast. Let's just do some real quick math here. You're firing 3 shots per second. Each shot costs 2, so that's 6 ammo being consumed in a second. You have a magazine size of 11, so you're emptying your magazine size in 2 seconds. When I picked up the Phebert and fired it, this was a surprise to me because usually when I see high damage times 2, it feels like it's going to be more of a precision gun, you know? I was expecting Orphan Maker. I got Shitty Butcher. And unfortunately, that's not the extent of the problems that this gun has. It is so hard to actually hit anything for more than a few shots. The recoil on this thing is nuts. You are going to miss more shots than you hit. It's just how it's going to happen. No matter how hard you drag down on your mouse, it's going everywhere. It has a mind of its own. Let's compare these two, the Butcher and the Phebert. On paper, the Phebert doesn't look that bad damage-wise, getting 73,568 total damage, where the Butcher gets 50,892 with a ×3. The issue here is a little concept called DPS and effective DPS. So, DPS, damage per second, we now multiply these numbers by the fire rate. Now you're starting to see the difference here. The Butcher is getting almost double the DPS of the Phebert, but now let's move into our effective DPS, because we also have to take into account that the Phebert is emptying its magazine size in 2 seconds, where the Butcher has built-in ammo regen that lets you fire it for a multitude of more seconds. And along with that, the Butcher doesn't have crazy high recoil that makes you miss most of your shots. So you're actually landing pretty much all your pellets all of the time, you're not reloading as much, and you're just doing more DPS anyways. The Phebert is suffering from not leaning more into being more of a high damage 2-shot low fire rate gun. That's what it should be. The whole thing with the projectiles having super high speed, making it effectively a hit scan, should be leaned into to make it more of a snipery shotgun. Instead, what we have here is a super subpar Butcher. That's it. There's nothing else to say about it other than it is just a worse Butcher. The only thing I can really give it is that it has a better synergy with Two Fang and Playing Dirty, because its base pellet damage is higher than the Butcher by a significant margin, so adding a third projectile to it does give you way more. But the other issues of how quickly you run through your ammo and how often you're gonna be reloading and how hard it is to actually fucking hit anything with, all of those are still present. There really isn't any way of getting around how shit the handling is. And even on Mo's, it is a very difficult process to actually get this to a state where you can fire it forever. I think you can. I'm pretty sure you are able to. However, you need to make this magazine so fucking huge. You need to have the proper rolls on your gear to do it, and it's just not worth it. The damage output isn't there. Just use a Butcher. The Phebert doesn't have an identity of its own, and it's really suffering from it. It has this effect of having extremely high bullet speed and also having 2 shots with high damage, but then the gun itself isn't really making use of this fact, and instead it's not high enough damage to use as sort of a snipery shotgun like the one pump chump. It doesn't have any sort of high crit damage. You have to actually get a specific roll to get a 10% bonus to crit damage. And then having this really high fire rate with this really shit handling. It's weird. It's really just weird. I don't know where this gun is supposed to fit in. I don't know what the idea behind any of this was, because on paper, between the legendary effect and just how the item card looks, this shouldn't work the way that it does. But instead of being a sort of Hyperion orphan maker, instead it's just a butcher without everything that makes the butcher actually decent. That's not about do it for me. I'm going to be live on my Twitch after this video goes live, so come on and hang out for a bit. There's a link in the description down there. While you're down there, maybe like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.